Good evening, everybody. Thanks so much for coming out this evening. It's great to see so many of you. And it's great to welcome to Talk to the Hill and to the Hill Center. Her first visit to the Hill Center, Alexandra Petri, whom we all love and enjoy and look forward to on Saturday in Washington Post. Welcome.
Thanks.
I have to say, first of all, that well, a couple of announcements in terms of upcoming programs. We have Congresswoman Rosa DeLauro, who lives in the neighborhood, booked. We're just trying to nail down the date for her. And also Susan Rice, former National Security Advisor. There's a new book coming out in the fall, so she'll definitely be here. We're just not sure the date yet. And Justice Stephen Breyer on April 22nd. So those are not up yet, but you might make a note and look to see them all for that. I don't know, how many of you were here the last time we were together with Nina Totenberg from NPR? Well, maybe you didn't realize I just wanted to tell Alexandra the story that you were watching history being made. Nina and I, you may recall, among other subjects we talked about, one was a Supreme Court decision that about a new pair of jeans by a new company called Friends You Can Trust, or the acronym being FUCT, fucked. And that case was going to the Supreme Court as to whether, because they had been turned down for a patent for the word fucked. And whether that, and so we talked all about that, whether we would actually hear Ruth Bader Ginsburg saying, fucked. And then Nina Totenberg told the story about when NPR was sort of, she said, a pretty conservative place, pretty tight place, I didn't know that. And when Donald Trump used the famous phrase, shithole countries, they were not allowed to say it on NPR for a while until they finally raised hell and said, everybody else is saying it, why can't we say it? And management finally said, okay, you could say shithole countries. At which point, Robert Siegel from All Things Considered, who had retired in the meantime, was very upset because he had wanted to say shithole countries several times, and then they finally agreed after he had retired, so they brought him back to the show just so he could say shithole countries. Anyhow, I think those of you who were here remember, it was a wonderful conversation with Nina Totenberg, and as we were walking off the platform here, a gentleman came up to us and said, that is probably the most profanity we have ever heard on C-SPAN. Nina and I did not realize that C-SPAN was live. They had decided at the last minute to come, and the management of the Hill Center forgot to tell us. And here we were on national television, just having the time of our lives. Shit all over. Brian good for C-SPAN. So the world is yours. I mean, you can say anything you want. So, Alexandra, you're one of the rare people that I know who actually grew up in Washington, D.C.
That's right.
Megan did too, but not many. But isn't it so? And I don't know how much you know about Alexandra's background, but she did grow up here in D.C. Her father was a member of Congress. She went to National Cathedral School. I read when in high school you wrote a couple of plays which were actually performed at the arena.
Well, they had like a playwriting contest thing, so they put them on like a Millennium stage. So not on the physical arena stage, but through arena stage.
Right. Yeah. And then on to Harvard as part of Hasty Pudding, and, Harvard Princeton. Right?
Yeah.
And in 2010 was named the youngest columnist ever for the Washington Post. You know, and of course we know that Dickens famously said these are the best of times and the worst of times. Some of us today think he was only half right. Because times are rather grim. And how refreshing it is then to be able to pick up the paper at least one day a week and smile. and have a little laugh. So thank you for that. But isn't it a challenge to be both in Washington and funny at the same time?
Well, I don't know. Congress seems to manage pretty well. Although I don't know. These days we have sort of the thing where everything is absurd and not many things are necessarily inherently funny. So I always used to joke that my real dream was to grow up and write dystopian horror, and then the news happened, and I quit my day job to start doing that. So that was kind of nice from a writing perspective, but from a living in perspective, it's sort of, you wish you could see this happening in a terrarium and know that it's fiction, and it's not fiction. And so,
How'd you get started with the column?
well, I'm trying to think. I got started basically because I'd always been reading things in the form of columns. So growing up, I was sitting there with my Thurber anthology, and Dr. Benchley in a big bag, this is snuck to you by the other kids out of their lockers, when the Thurber ran dry. And I'm not sure what kind of wild high school thing I'm describing, but yeah, anyway, so I just sort of grew up reading that kind of thing. And so when I first sat down and started to write, I always knew I wanted to write in some format. It had many forays in many directions, but what started coming out was columns. And then the Post is nice enough not to stop me from doing that. And so that's what I found myself doing.
I actually encourage you.
Indeed, yeah.
So with your father, when the father is a member of Congress, did that make you cynical about politics or turn you off to politics?
I would actually say the opposite, because I feel like journalism and politics do have in common, when they're working well, is that you get to go and talk to a lot of people, and you have the idea that what people think matters, and then you get to go and talk to them and say hey, what's your view of what's going on in the world, and listen, and then do something with that information. And so he was always that was his style, and so the part I loved most about sort of growing up with him as my father was that you got to go and meet so many people and just be in a parade behind a bunch of people dressed as clowns who also had very clearly thought through what should you do in the event of a national emergency, and they were in the clown costume, but they were still I also have a very cogent policy point to make. And it's this is great, this is amazing. What other job can you get when you do this? And one of the answers is journalism. So I was I almost was grateful to be part of that.
Yeah. So when you I don't know, what day do you write? Wednesday, Thursday? How close to the deadline do you get?
Oh, sometimes 3 hours after the deadline has passed, everyone's screaming on the phone, "Where's your column?" No. Well, in theory, I'm supposed to be writing every day, and I'm always sort of writing something. It sort of starts on my phone where I have a giant list of everything I think might plausibly make a column. And then gradually it gets widowed down. I get to go to a computer and I sit there, I drink some coffee and I walk away from the computer and I come back to the computer. I go see how everyone else in the office is doing. We have nice conversations. We catch up fully on one another's vacations. I think maybe I should go do some man on the street, and I go to Starbucks and write to the patrons for a while, then I come back. And then my editor's I have a hard out at 5. Have you written that column yet? And then, it's like a plane taking off. I know that there's some sort of physics involved, but the moment when it leaves the runway is still a total mystery to me. I assume it's working. But.
Right. Well, I was going to ask you, but no, you could just answer. Where you get your ideas from? Starbucks.
Yeah, no. Starbucks, and of course also Pete's Coffee, and any purveyor of coffee around the larger area. No, but just I read the paper and then I think, what does incense mean? And then I go for it. Exactly. No, that's the difficulty. It's always every day I'm going to write 6 columns today, and then by the end of the day I look and I manage to crank out 1 column or 2 posts if I'm lucky, and it really depends on. But every day there's hundreds and hundreds of things.
I should also mention you do the blog or the live chat, what you call it.
Oh yeah.
On Tuesdays, right?
Yes.
Which is called, of course, Compost. Who came up with that?
Well, so this dates back to when every blog at the Post had Post in the name somehow. I've always maintained that there was a blog called Postpartum, but I've been told we did not have a Postpartum blog, but we should have, because that would have been a great name.
Yeah.
And yeah, we have Postpartisan, Compost, and But people kept thinking it was a gardening blog where there was deliberation, and neither of those things were true. But after a while, the book sort of disappeared. Now that's not actually true either because it's on the internet, so it lives forever. So you can find all my dubious takes from 2011, and they were many and they were dubious. I think I came out against celery at one point. In bold strokes. I said all celery is tainted because like some celery had been declared tainted. I thought this was a good time to really come out swinging. It's this horrid vegetable. And I just thought that was like, okay, today you could plausibly write about celery because nothing noticeably bad is happening in the halls of politics. But
No, not at all. Right. So not broccoli, but celery.
yeah. If you came and dumped a bunch of celery on my lawn, it would be analogous, and I'd be.
So what's it like to work for the richest man on the planet?
Well, to me, it mostly manifests in terms of whenever you write about him or Amazon, which isn't never because it's Amazon and he's the richest man on the planet, you have to put a little disclosure that says, Jeff Bezos, the founder and CEO of Amazon, owns the Washington Post. And so you learn a lot of ways of saying the phrase, Jeff Bezos, the founder and CEO of Amazon, owns the Washington Post. And
you always have to say it, right?
Yeah, you have to disclose it. So it's always fun, like, where do you sneak it in? And I think this morning they had somebody who was at the after party for the Oscars and saw Jeff Bezos, and they had to mention, like, and also Jeff Bezos, of Amazon, owns the Washington Post. In the article where they're like, we saw him at the after party saying he was going to go hang out with the cool movie stars. And it's always funny. So watch for that when you're reading the post. It's always like, how do we stylistically choose to do this?
Have you met him?
I've met him, yeah.
And
He's an impressive guy. I think he's an impressive man, this Jeff Bezos. He'll remind of himself someday in the future, this fellow. He's going to go far.
you heard it here first.
Yeah. Got some good ideas.
And by the way, he owns Washington.
Yeah.
Do you find Washington has changed a lot for the better since you've lived here?
I think it's certainly changed a lot. And there are more organic groceries than there were previously. And people,
There you go.
yeah. So if you're like organic peanut butter, live, eat, breathe organic peanut butter, like this is prime time to live in Washington. And I feel like I miss some of the good bookstores that used to be there back in the day, like Olson's Books. Anybody remember Olson's? I love Olson's. What happened to Olson's? But
What happened to a lot of independent bookstores, right? Yeah.
I even miss Barnes & Noble, but now there's like the Amazon store, which is sort of uncanny valley bookstore. Have you all been in there where all the books face forwards? And like the spines aren't out, the books are just out, and then it says, if you like this book, you'd also love this other book. And so if you go in, I'm like, I'm gonna go in there and see if I can buy Democracy by Henry Adams. And I'm like, I physically don't know where in this bookstore to look for it. You're like, did you like Eat, Pray, Love? And I'm like, will that point me to what I'm looking for? Anyway.
The weirdest thing I saw in your bio is that you were baptized in a cult.
Oh, briefly, yeah.
Who
Who among us?
Were you stoned or what?
No, I was completely sober. Everyone in college was very worried about me. But, no, this was, in college, you go through that phase when you're trying to be polite to some people you meet on the sidewalk, and next thing you know.
Yeah, I went through that phase when I was never baptized in a cult.
I felt like I haven't been to church in a while, and I'm like, well, they said they wanted to talk about the woman image of God in Scripture. And they had a Bible study group, and we got in a car, and the next thing you know, they're like, well, you've agreed to everything to want to accept baptism. And I was like, I'd rather sort of pump the brakes there. And they said, well, the last person who agreed with everything and didn't accept baptism got hit by a bus. So just and I considered it, and I decided maybe I should accept baptism. But yeah.
Did they dunk you?
You had to kneel in a little tub and they poured water on you. Yeah, it was a fun time. And my college roommate has not fully recovered from the experience of me coming home and saying, hey, and she's like, why are you wet? I'm like, oh, I'm part of the Church of God now. But my mother also is not recovered from this. But admittedly, like I come home and I tell her this story, and her number one concern, she's like, well, you went with these women, but how did you know they were women? They could have been witches. And I'm like, I don't think that's but like it is a valid concern these days because women are very upset, and now we're branching out.
We're happy with the Oscars.
Oh, you know, I actually like not having a host. I thought that was nice.
By the way, absolutely, I do. Right? Not having a host, things went smoother. I don't know, seemed to be a little faster. Yeah, tighter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I love the thing that Melissa McCarthy wore where it had the rabbits all over it.
God.
That was fabulous.
Yeah.
And yeah, no, everyone was really well dressed, I feel like. And I loved Olivia Colman's speech. I'm sort of confused by why Green Book won, but I haven't seen Green Book, and who knows? Maybe it's actually much more transcendent than the internet gives it credit for. But I somehow doubt that.
One distorted note maybe was Portland close.
Oh
We'll
yeah.
always get so close.
Yeah. She's like the Henry Clay of like actors. All right, this room.
And she deserved it for one. I mean, that's it.
Oh man, I still haven't seen The Wife. I feel like that was the biggest thing going against The Wife, was everyone was like, Glenn Close deserves it, but I didn't see The Wife. But,
All right, so of course the big news this week. What is your take on Kim Jong-un and Donald Trump on the world stage in Hanoi? You have big expectations?
no, I don't. But I guess it's exciting that Kim Jong-un now has like two friends. Racist.
You mean Pompeo and Trump? Or?
No, oh well, three friends if you're including Pompeo. I was thinking, yeah, Dennis Rodman.
Oh.
Yeah, that's a way back. But I mean, from a perspective of like being alive, I'm not sure how great I feel about it. But it's good that I guess when you have friends, you don't feel inclined to be like, oh, I'm gonna bomb them. But
Dennis Rodman, who claims credit for getting for the summit #1 and the summit #2 and getting together. He paved the way.
no, exactly. We're like walking into diplomatic footprints of Dennis Rodman. It's like 2019 in a nutshell. It's like he's a prescient man who's got his finger on the pulse of where policy needs to go. It's something you would have said in the past, and everyone would have said, no, I don't think so. And that's when we're in that terrarium together.
I thought it was funny that yesterday, just bouncing around the news of the day, that former Senate leader Harry Reid said he would take George Bush back in a flash.
Yeah.
You miss George Bush?
Well, I was like 12, so I don't miss that part of the Bush era. I miss all the bumper stickers. Because, like, yeah, all the like Bush lied, people died bumper stickers. I guess, I don't know, I feel like it's, when Harry Reid is nostalgic for the Bush era, you know that something's going on in politics is unprecedented. But yeah, I guess I miss my waning youth. And because as you get closer and closer to 30, as a woman, your voice becomes completely inaudible to human ears. And so I do miss those days. And it was fun, like, not knowing how bad the Star Wars prequels were going to be. So I do miss that about the Bush era. I feel like we're really kind of different priorities when it comes to, like, what I miss about Bush. I guess like, watching Vice, I was just like, I thought maybe I missed this time, but maybe I don't actually miss it, except in the sense that, like, you miss sort of having somebody who, like, has read the same introductory texts as you have, that you can have a discussion with. And instead of, like, overheard something in, like, the lounge of a golf course that they're now think that they think is the Constitution somehow.
So we're not going to get Bush back, but we may get Trump out with somebody new in 2020. Who's your candidate?
I'm just trying to be like, I'm excited by all these choices as opposed to like, I'm frustrated by all these choices. Like, yes, sign me up for all these mailing lists. I want to see what folks have to offer.
Everyone, right?
Yeah, diplomatic response.
No favorite.
Well,
Among the 20, anybody yet, right?
Listen, I just want to hear like what their policy ideas are, and I'm excited that we have such a big field of folks running to be like not Donald Trump this year.
And we have, what do we have, 9 so far, I think, or whatever, and another.
Oh yeah, easily like 38.
Imagine the first debate.
Well, they're going to have 16 debates at least, they say. Because my alternative would be to sort of go immediately back into 2016 mode, where all I can think is, oh no, I can see it, it's happening all over again, everything. And because you know how, I think it was Somerset Maugham, but it might have been somebody else, who said that love is the interval between meeting a beautiful woman and discovering she looks like a haddock. And that's sort of how I feel like the primary process is. It's the interval between being like, look, 38 wonderful choices, and be like, I hate all of them for deeply personal reasons, and I could not possibly on principle vote for them. I'm no longer excited. What a horrible morass of choices. And so I'm trying to stave that off as long as possible.
I must admit that I have not yet, because I just discovered, had a chance to read your book. I love the title, A Field Guide to Awkward Silences.
You just judge it by its title in the cover. Just go ahead and
That's half of it, is the title, right? Good title. Gene Weingarten, who lives on the hill here on this mountain, wrote a blurb for the book where he said, how awkward is Alexandra Petri? I know a man who, in the presence of others, once slammed a car door on his own head. Compared to Petri, he is Fred Astaire. I'm just saying. What were some of the most awkward moments that you talked about?
Oh man, well, every moment is awkward. I feel like I could spend hours every day just thinking of everything I've said, every remark I've made in the past and cringing, just for months at a time. But I think mostly sort of what the book was about was moments where I'm like, because I've grown up like watching American Idol and everything, grown up watching American Idol back in the remote Bush era days. I don't know. And sort of seeing people like fail spectacularly was always fascinating to me. So sort of in the book, I set out to fail spectacularly myself and like audition for things and just do, because I was like, well, I don't want to do my best because then people could make fun of me. But if I just deliberately do the worst thing I could possibly do, they'll say, who's that poor person who's not doing a good job? Let's put them on national television. So this was sort of my plan. But in the course of doing that, I realized that you never actually are as awkward as when you're really genuinely trying your best. And so you should just genuinely try your best all the time if you want to achieve maximum awkwardness. And also if you want to have a rich, fulfilling life. But I would say, actually, now that I'm thinking that, the most awkward moment was I competed in like an international whistling contest. And
Slow down. An international whistling
yeah.
contest?
Which everyone's
Are
on
you
like,
Swiss? Or?
it's yodeling.
I'm sorry.
Whistling. So I'm a better whistler now than I was when I did the contest. And at the end of it, I came in like 38 out of a possible 40 people, I think. Something really just, that was about the ranking.
Where was it held?
It was in Lewisburg, North Carolina.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
So did we have.
Of course. Oh. And so, and they have incredible whistlers. Like, if you ever want to watch, because they have whistling that's like aided with the hand. So you can have people who are like whistling while also doing another activity like origami. There's a whole night of that. So if you go to the night where they're doing like whistling plus, because just the regular whistling is just people doing like opera arias, but just only with their either pure tonal whistling. There's different types of whistling. Anyway, it's a whole world. But at the end of it, they had us sign up on a list for would you like to go perform at a local church. And I assumed, well, I'll be in a large crowd of whistlers who will mask how bad my whistling's going to be. So sure, I'll sign up for this. So I get to the church, and next day, and I'm like looking around, I'm like, I don't see anyone that I recognize from this whistling. Suddenly, like the pastor comes up, he goes, "Are you our whistler?" I guess I am. So he proceeds to, in front of the whole congregation, just give the most beautiful introduction you've ever heard. Like, you think you're going to be hearing the vocal equivalent of Michelangelo whistling. Like, he goes on and on about how blessed we are today to have with us this great gift from on high. And I'm sitting there thinking, this is not an accurate description of how I whistle. So I concluded I was going to just whistle something really patriotic and short and get off the stage as quickly as possible.
Not something religious, I mean,
You know,
Amazing Grace.
I was worried because if I got that wrong, that could go really bad. So I think, I'm trying to remember, I think I was like, my country disobeys this very much. It sounded like this. This is how they all were like, we think we witnessed something beautiful. No evidence given to us. And I just sort of slunk right out because people were like, oh, where did you learn to whistle? Which is always a question that implies that you did a really good job. Where did you learn to do that? Who told you to get to whistle? But, yeah, so that was very awkward. That's okay.
I'm just intrigued by this. Did you have to go through an audition?
I sent him a tape of my whistling, which I actually recorded in the like ladies' room stall at the Post. And people were coming in and opening the door to hear flushing sounds. It wasn't ideal. I should have made it home. I don't know. So I actually got like one tape that was undisturbed, but I'm just sitting there like, nobody coming to the restroom while I'm whistling. It's a beautiful acoustic chamber. Yeah.
A couple of the recent columns, and then we'll open it up to your questions about whistling or whatever you want to talk about. I love the column about one of the real challenges candidates have these days is eating.
Oh, don't ever eat food if you're going to run for office. It's a no-no, I would say. Just don't put the food in your mouth. Don't hold the food in a fork. Don't hold the food in your hand. Basically, osmosis it, but even that's sort of weird because people are like, what species are you? Try to avoid food as much as possible because there's no way you can do it where people think that was charming and enhanced my view of this individual. It just turns into a picture of like you eating corn and like Michelle Bachman's on the other end of the corn and you're like, it's never ideal. It's never a good vision.
And don't eat pizza with a knife and fork.
Well, would do because, or eat a bagel. Anytime anyone's made any food decision whatsoever, I feel like someone thinks it's a great thing and someone thinks it's a terrible thing. And
The
so,
fun thing is going to be, for me, going to be Cory Booker, the vegan, at the Iowa State Fair.
there's corn there. There's corn.
Oh, there's corn, right?
Maybe only like 8. I suddenly forgot the ears. Ears of corn. Loads of corn.
And another recent column about Donald Trump musing about having a dog.
Oh, yeah, well, I just wanted to go through the concept, and my husband kept hearing me laughing to myself. He's like, "Why are you laughing?" I'm like, "I've killed the dog," and he's like, "What's going on in there?" But I don't know, because Donald Trump has always been sort of vocal about how he thinks having a dog is kind of phony, and he's sort of germophobic. And I thought it would be fun to, because nothing gets people as excited as the thought of like, should you have a dog in the White House? And like, where's the first pet? And like, people are still really riled up about that. It's like, so just going through and thinking, what would it actually look like if he had one? So it was fun to walk through and be like, how is poor Fido going to, as someone who myself is a little bit uneasy around dogs, which just attracts them to me in droves. They just come running.
They know.
They sense the discomfort. They make a beeline for you, or a dog line. I feel like you. And so just thinking through that, and in terms of also just sort of the loneliness. I was just sitting there capping like the dog is dead, everyone's alone. But you gotta take because that's the trouble with writing a humor column, is you write it and then it goes out into the internet and you never know if anyone's laughed at it or not. And so I'm like cackling to myself like a maniac, which makes me obnoxious to be around in the office. But I think, well, I want to send it out with laughter.
Chances are, if you don't laugh at it, nobody else is going to.
Although sometimes the opposite. Sometimes I'm laughing hysterically. I'm like, what is this? This doesn't make sense to me. And my editor will gently be like, maybe do the other option that you were thinking of.
So last weekend was one that I think all of us can relate to, not that we can't relate to the others, about hidden microphones or cameras in home appliances.
Oh yeah.
God, what sparked that column?
So I'm basically a techno dystopian, which is awkward because I'm married to a techno utopian. He's like on the part of the S curve that isn't even visible on the chart. He's just like, I want it, like, put a thing in me that will tell me what my blood type is and send me to Mars. And I'm just like, I want TV to be made from wood. So we're sort of on opposite ends, but he's also much more organized than I am. And so as a consequence, like, my vision is like we're living in like a wooden hut and the TV is like being read aloud to us by candlelight. And his vision is like we have like a stereo and there's like TVs in multiple rooms. And so that vision is the vision we're living in because he gets things done and it's orderly. And so this was sort of like, and the microwaves these days, they like sing to you. So I was sort of very like curmudgeonly, like, get out of my cave with your fire, I don't want it. I'm gonna get the meat raw as they intended us to do type. And this was an opportunity for me to explore that impulse with regards to technology, especially because this Google smart home device turned out to have a microphone in it that they'd casually forgotten to mention. Like, people will be excited by it. It didn't occur to us, we were gonna mention it, but we definitely, because they were gonna be excited. But, and like, because the techno-utopians really are excited. They're like, it's great that there's a microphone, and now whenever I say something like sweet, it'll be recorded and we can send it online to everyone in my life for like a special thing. And like Facebook every year is like, do you want to remember that thing you posted like 13 years ago? And I'm like, no. I don't want to remember what I wrote yesterday. Stop taunting me with memories of the past. But, so yeah, technology is bad.
Do you have an Alexa?
Yes. And I'm always apologizing to and anthropomorphizing it. I have friends who like they have a child and so they call it computer and they're like it because you don't want to start talking to people the way you like to talk to Alexa. So I'm always just like, hi Alexa, sorry about this. But could you like maybe check what the weather is? And she doesn't understand commands that way. Or like I'm always the trouble was when we got into the initial argument of like, should we bring home all this technology? I was like, but what if we want to do a murder? We can't do a murder if we have an Alexa in the house. And he's like, this is not a good argument. So we get like, we try once to do a murder, and so we can't have an Alexa in the house. And that's not valid. And I'm like, well, no, but like, you understand the premise. He's like, no, what's the premise here? The premise is you want to like do a small crime? Like, what's the reason? But I don't know. Every so often she'll go off and say something really frightening, and I don't trust it one bit.
When you least expect her to pop up suddenly, right, she'll have something to offer. Turn around and say, somebody else is here. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, no, what I forget what we were talking about. I think I was trying to get her to play this playlist or something, and she suddenly goes, I don't know what sex is. And I was like, oh, where did this come from? It was a song that she thought I was requesting her to play. Like, that doesn't even resemble the sound that I made. And anyway, it was very frightening. And more than I wanted to know about Alexa. Founder and CEO of Amazon, Alexa, owns the Washington Post.
Alexandra Petri. It just scratched the surface of so many possible topics to talk about. Who wants to throw a question our way? How many? 2 microphones? 1 on each side. Okay, that's good. Thank you. We'll start right here. Right.
So have you or have you ever thought about
What is-
Sorry.
What's it?
Please
No,
repeat.
we just have to turn up here. Now,
So have you ever thought about or have you done stand-up comedy?
Ooh, I actually used to during college, and I did it. Like, I was in this college stand-up comedy society with activists, SUCS, stand-up comedy society. And we tried to get them to approve some sweatshirts, and they were like, we can't approve these. And we're like, oh, well, we understand. They're like, because it needs to say, it can't just say Harvard sucks, it has to say Harvard College sucks. And So, yeah, no, but I feel like it takes a lot of time and effort, and like the people who are really good at it are super good. So I mostly enjoy watching it and typing my jokes, but I'm flattered by the question.
I think you just did. Sit down, Connor.
Yeah.
So I don't mean to be a buzzkill, but I'm curious as to what it's like to have the pressure to be funny and to kind of be cheerful. I mean, you have a cheerful persona, and then people come to expect that. But life happens, and there's stuff you got to deal with, and still be funny. And I'm wondering how you work through that.
No, thank you for that, because that isn't a buzzkill. That's like it's not to get all like Pagliacci on you, but it does happen. Like, because I do think like the image of myself that I put out there, and that is often very true to who I am, is like a cheery person with jokes. And there are days when that is not who I am, and days when I'm like, I got out of bed and that was very exciting. We're gonna work from here. And on those days, I'm like, it's like, the me that I am is really me, but it's also it can be tiring to be. And if I'm like, so nobody gets what I'm like, I'm not gonna be on the internet today, and I'm just gonna like, right? And I think the thing that's helped most is like both my boss and folks who I think read me, they expected like, although I tend to make jokes, I don't always have to. And like if there's something serious, and I'm just like, it doesn't have to be funny if there's nothing funny to say. And I think that's, sometimes there isn't, and recognizing that and being honest and just trying to say, like, type the first honest thing that comes to you, and then the next honest thing gets you through the weeks when it isn't easy to be like, ta-da, here's jests and japery. But yeah.
Okay, here we go. Good.
You mentioned Benchley and Thurber, but you haven't talked about any other writers, some experiences to writers who inspired you or influenced you, funny or not.
Ooh, oh, this is fun. Well, lately I've been on this enormous Gore Vidal kick, because he's like a local lad. And so I read both of his memoirs, and I'm like working my way through the plays and the essays. I took United States on like a plane, which, in continuing with the sort of technology versus non-technology, my husband's like, I have a Kindle, and I'm like, I'm carrying a 1,000-page hardbound copy of Gore Vidal's complete essays on the plane, a backpack. And so it's like the comical example, but so I've been enjoying him, although I came to him later in life. I'm a big Proust and Forster fan, and gotta read Proust. This is what like the English major. I mean, I love like Aristophanes, because especially if you get a good, like the Paul Muldoon translation is lit, as the kids say. It's really, those birds, they're off the chain. Oh yeah. No, frogs and the clouds. I think the clouds is funniest because we've heard of Socrates, and it's like, oh, I get why that guy is funny now. But I don't know. I'm always trying to read something. I'm trying to get into Henry Adams. I'm like on like a kick of like, let's read some local lads. So I just read Democracy, which is fine. It's like, I don't know. I kept coming in and being like, I've almost finished Democracy, and they're like, no, please, no. It was funniest like the first 3 times. Got it decreasingly. Yeah.
I think Vidal's novel Washington D.C. is the best novel about Washington.
Ooh, well, I gotta read it. No, I read Burke.
Absolutely, that's right. But I wanted to follow up on that and say, who do you read? Like all these dead people are fine. Who do you read today? Are there any of the other columnists in the Post or the New York Times that you try not to miss, that you look forward to? Is George Will your secret favorite?
I love him in Sesquipedalian. Like, who throw some Rodomontade in there? It's unmissable. Like, who's using Rodomontade anymore these days? I like when anyone like describe like. I
Dana Milbank you used to work with.
Yeah. No, I mean, at the risk of sounding like Sarah Palin, all of the ones that are there.
I subscribe to the law. Sorry.
But,
Yeah.
spend a lot of time on Twitter, and so you get a lot of interesting voices in your feed from across the internet, which is fun. And not necessarily just like the post, but like I really like Elizabeth Bruning a lot. We used to share a desk, and so I really think she's thoughtful, very interesting, and enjoyed reading her stuff. And
Do you subscribe to Donald Trump's Twitter feed?
I don't, but I click on it often enough. I might as well. There's no I'm not gaining a great moral victory by having to go and click on it 6 times a day.
So you keep up with it that way, right? Don't worry. Enough of them make the news. Sure.
Well, I think we're all here because we think you're one of our hilarious columnists at the Post, and I'm just wondering, not to spill the beans on workplace dynamics, but do you ever, what could you share for, I guess, younger journalists who might want to be not like the rest of the people in their workplace, who may be covering more hard news, and do you ever feel I don't know, people treat you differently because you're not a hard news reporter, but probably get more clicks than they do?
I feel like the hard news reporters are actually some of the nicest folks in the building. David Farragut is just super nice. He's just the nicest human being. And I think especially over on the opinion side, there's a lot of young folks who are doing both shoe leather, journalism. Not sure what journalism is. It's an interesting mix because we're sort of often are behind the wall of opinion where none of the news shall tread and all that. But it's a fun place to work. And I was at first I was it's cool that I'm alone and young. And now I'm no, the more people the better, please, as many as possible. And we're getting there. So we've got millennials and things.
Changes at the Post since under the new owner.
Well,
His name shall not be mentioned.
Less cake. That would be the #1 change, I would say. Less cake. Because we used to get cake every time that somebody was taking a buyout. You got a cake. They would leave. And now we're hiring people and there's no cake. It's a trade-off I will take.
Yeah. No, I think the difference is shown too. Yeah, sure, over here.
I'm not quite sure how to phrase this, but have you ever been tempted to write on your weekly column a perfectly serious column? Just to see what happens, whether people take it as humorous.
No, well, the funny thing is, I had the opposite thing happen a lot. A lot of people were always what a despicable opinion you hold, and I didn't like the way that simile you used was way out. And I'm that. I hope that simile made it obvious that it was joking. So it would be fun to try the opposite and just see what would happen. No, that's a good thought. I'm gonna have to attempt that. Hopefully, it's not an actually real serious thing. And then everyone's you're a funny name.
So keep watching for that.
Yeah, watch this space. See if you can guess which one it is.
Speaking of serious columns, I was thinking back to one of my favorite Alexandra Petri columns, which was during the Kavanaugh hearings about the train running over Dr. Christine Blasey Ford, which made me really sad. And I guess, I don't know if I have a question so much as a thought that maybe humorists are our public intellectuals right now, people like you, people like Hassan Minhaj, Stephen Colbert, John Oliver, the cast of SNL, humor stands in for public discourse and leadership right now. So I don't know what you have to say about that. Thanks.
Oh, thank you for mentioning me in the sentence with Dang, because that's
Good company.
That is good company, and then also thank you for that column compliment, because that was one of the ones I was I can't make jokes. It's too visceral right now. My guts are out on this thing. I think the funny thing about humor, people are always what's your grand theory of humor? And nothing is less funny than a discourse on your grand theory of humor. But I'm always what is like, what are you laughing at? And sometimes you're laughing because you're like, I agree with like the thing that you just said was funny. Like, I'm always using an example because I like my grandma will be sitting there watching Greg Gutfeld and be like, this is hilarious. This man has jokes about, you know, Santa Claus is the whitest of all men. It's like, all right, funny joke. But if you don't agree with that premise, it's not a funny joke. It's just like a statement that's inaccurate. So I think actually, like, you can help sort of determine norms with like what gets laughed at and what doesn't get laughed at. And like, there is a sort of a civility in that. It's kind of like, not to be all like, sort of like old-time civility where it's like, and we're all going to sit in a room and there's going to be forks of varying sizes. And like, once you're in there with the forks of varying sizes, no one's going to say anything. But just sort of being like, okay, let's think about who's in the room. Let's think about who the joke is on. And like, let's kind of see if we can find a joke that maximizes the room in a way that's like, that's a cool responsibility to have. But also makes you like, am I thinking this too much seriously? Am I using too many serious verbs? But yeah, I think ideally, like, humor could be like, let's have a big room full of people who are all laughing at the same thing. And that's a super cool idea to me.
Plus, it may be the humor that gets us through these days, too, or helps get us through these days. Whether it's a Stephen Colbert, Alexandra, or anybody else we turn to for laughs. I know there are a couple of fans here. I lost track of them. Yeah, just please. We'll get you next.
We may have covered this, but I can't even remember which column it was. You were slightly more, or it seemed like you really felt about this. And I thought it was the most of anything I'd ever read, just hit the nail right there. And it was funny, but it was almost bitterly funny. And that may have been the Kavanaugh one. I can't remember what it was. But I was wondering if you, when you were talking about your Twitter feed and so on, what kind of reactions do you get? You know, we're always hearing, you know, Dana Milbank saying everybody wants to, you know, string them up and things. Do you get some very negative things, or is it mostly just people saying you're funny?
Well, it's funny. I think I get a lot of nice feedback, and some of that's just because, like, I feel like people are meaner on the internet if you're not like a white lady. Like, so that's a privilege that I have. But I also think that, like, I do get a fair amount of angry mail, and I thought I was just like zoning out. There's one I'm like, I haven't gotten anything negative. I'm like, oh, earlier today I got an email from someone being like, you dumb misspelled. Like, why don't you misspell? And I just sort of toned it out. So I'm like, oh, yeah, I got like 6 of those. But no, I think it does vary. And like sometimes you can tell people have only read the headline and they're just like, oh, this is a headline about a subject that I have feelings on. I'm gonna send a long email, and then it turns out that the column doesn't maybe resemble what the headline was. But like that used to happen more back in like the Obama era. Like, because whenever you just had Obama in the headline, you get like 6 emails being like, by the way, I have strong negative opinions about the president. And like, even if the column was totally unrelated to that, it's like, celery, and also Obama is currently president. You would still get, yeah.
Over here.
So a question somewhat related to Twitter, if you were to write the ending of the current Star Wars trilogy, what would it be?
Oh man, yes. Ooh, I feel like I just want to see, like, Force Ghost Luke does something cool. I definitely want to see that happen. I'm so excited because I feel like everyone was saying that, like, the 3 Star Wars movies, like the first one was going to be like the Han movie, and the second one was going to be like the Luke movie, and the third one was going to be the Leia movie, and then like reality intervened, tearing Carrie Fisher from our bosoms, and also like disrupting this plan. So I mostly, I guess I just want to see like the gang get back together, like the Rebel gang, Resistance gang, sorry, showing my age here. The Resistance gang get back together, like have an adventure as a group, because I feel like they've been all around the different sides of the galaxy, and I want to see them get back together and like do a thing. And I think I want Kylo to be like redeemed, but like really earn it so much, and like if that's even possible, we'll see. It's debatable, but yeah, he's been through some rough stuff, but also he's done some bad things. So the constant interplay of life and choice.
All right. Person here, and come back this side. Yeah. I saw a hand on the back.
Do you have an editor like Weingarten's Tom the Butcher that keeps you under control?
Well, sometimes he keeps me under control, and sometimes I think he encourages me. So, which is good. You need to have a mixture of that. But I wouldn't describe him as Drew the Butcher. I would describe him as Drew the not always enabler, but sometimes.
I know there's a question over here. Yeah. Good.
Now that you've covered Star Wars, you also tweet a lot about Javert.
Oh, good.
so I-
Javert content, my favorite kind of content.
So as a Les Misophile, what specifically, why is Javert?
Oh man, well, I like him because he loves justice and hates bread thieves. And because I'm debating how like deep to go in on this, because like on the one hand, there's the whole thing where like he's apparently based on that master like sort of proto Sherlock Holmes figure who was like solving all these crimes back in the day, and like just the whole like in the original Brick, like Valjean's doing parkour, and like Javert is like a mastermind of criminal solving, and I like that about him. I also I like that he loves justice and stars, and he had the best song in the musical, like hands down. Have you been watching the new one? Because like the BBC's doing some new one where like David Oyelowo is Javert, and I'm like, oh, this is relevant to my interests. But I also hear that they've like changed some things up, and like Valjean's morally gray or something. I don't know. I'm not sure about that. But anyway, I love Les Mis content, and I also like that he doesn't have a first name. Where's his first name? He was like, it's not important. What is important? 100 pages of information about the sewers of Paris. We're gonna stop. Like, that's just my favorite genre of novel in general, where it's like, here's the plot, but first, information about something in the 19th century that is no longer science. Like, you thought you wanted to hear about Moby Dick, but actually, let me tell you, the entire taxonomy of whales. But, yeah.
I warned you the questions could go anywhere. In this group, you never know. Can I come back down to the boring earth here? A recent column that I wanted to stand up and applaud was your column about the State of the Union. That wonderful period of time, brief period of time, like it was a week, when it looked like we might not have a State of the Union at all this year, which you pointed out might be a good thing.
I would have loved that. I would love it to be just delivered in writing. It's a nonsense. And I feel like it's one of those sort of tradition things that has taken on the worst aspects of like, well, the first time you bring in guests, of course you bring in these guests and everyone has to stand on the front. And then like the next year, instead of being like, well, that was a special case, we're gonna stop doing that. They're like, let's do it and let's bring more guests. And suddenly what could have been like a relatively unpleasant 15 minutes and morphed into this like 3-hour extravaganza with people standing and sitting and clapping passive aggressively and rising and falling. I love the like mid-sentence clap, which is my favorite, where it's like, I think like aggressive. I don't think aggressive applause. Yeah. There's a joke. You needed another word there. But yeah, no, just deliver it in writing. Like this is something Woodrow Wilson thought was a good idea, and we know what that man's record was.
No, it has got to. I mean, I think if you, I should have done this, counted up how much time was spent recognizing your guests as to how much, in the last State of the Union, as to how much time was spent talking about any serious policy, the guests far outweighed it. Was basically a guest-driven performance.
I almost thought it was less guests than usual, which just shows how much
Well, maybe more
steeped
time
in
spent
guests.
talking about
Yeah, exactly. But and Buzz Aldrin was there, which was nice to see. It's high.
Okay.
Yeah, Buzz Aldrin.
This is Wednesday, right?
Tuesday.
All right. What's up for this weekend?
Well, listen, I'm working on something that's just like, listen, children, stop telling me about climate policy because I can end you right now. I can destroy the earth. I have the power. It's sort of inchoate right now. That's like the headline. This is like a paragraph. So I'll tamper with that. And I've been working on that code a little bit, and read the paper, man.
All right, that sounds good. We got a sneak peek here tonight, and what a great evening to be able to spend with you. Thanks so much for being there. Thanks, guys.